Have you ever really stopped to think about what happens in that split second after you hit enter on your password? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this invisible world that pretty much runs our entire digital life at work. It's called Identity and Access Management, or IAM. Yeah, I know, it sounds super technical, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll see how it's behind every single click you make.
So, to make this all make sense, we're not going to talk in jargon. Instead, we're going to follow someone new. Let's call her Jane, on her first day at a new job. Her journey is going to be our guide, and honestly, she's going to make this whole thing feel way simpler than it sounds.
Because really, this is the big question, right? Every company on the planet is wrestling with this. You've got thousands of people, all their different devices, tons of apps. How in the world do you keep track of who's allowed to touch what? Well, that chaos is exactly what IAM is built to solve.
And it really is a maze when you think about it. You've got full-time employees, sure, but also contractors, partners. Then there are laptops, phones. You've got apps running inside the company, apps out in the cloud, servers, databases. It's a huge web. So the real trick is, how does Jane get access to exactly what she needs to do her job, but not a single thing more? Let's dig in.
So, believe it or not, Jane's digital life at this company actually started before she even walked through the door. It all begins with the creation of her official digital identity in one central system, the one place that knows, without a doubt, who she is.
For, decades now, the heart of this system has been Microsoft's Active Directory. I mean, this thing goes all the way back to 1999. It's evolved a ton, from clunky old servers in a closet to the massive cloud systems we have today. But you know what? The core idea, the whole reason it exists, that stayed pretty much the same.
The best way to picture it is like a giant, super intelligent phone book for the whole company. It's not just a list of names. It knows Jane's job title, her department, which computer's hers, what group she's a part of, every little digital detail that defines her place in the organization.
And that's why this is so critical. For everything and everyone inside the company's digital walls, this directory is considered the single source of truth. If the directory doesn't know about you, then as far as the network is concerned, you don't exist. It's that simple.
Now, before Jane even thinks about logging in, we have to get two fundamental ideas straight. They sound similar, but they're totally different. First, you have authentication. That's all about proving who you are. And second, there's authorization. That's about what you're allowed to do once you're in, who you are, and what you can do.
All right, the moment of truth. Jane's sitting at her new desk. She's got her new laptop. That first thing she does, typing in her username and password, that right there is authentication in action. She's basically knocking on the digital front door and saying, "Hey, it's me, Jane." It's really the digital version of showing your photo ID to the security guard in the lobby. By getting that password right, she's proven her identity. The system now says, "Okay, yep, you are who you say you are. Welcome."
Okay, so Jane's in. She's authenticated, she clicks on the sales software, and it opens right up. Perfect. But then she tries to open the payroll software, just out of curiosity, and boom, access denied. What just happened? Well, that brings us to our second pillar, authorization.
This is such a great way to see the difference. Authentication got her inside the building, but authorization is what decides which specific rooms she has the keys for. The system knows who she is, but her job role determines what she can actually access.
And this isn't random at all. It's all based on really strict principles, like role-based access, which just means she gets access because she's in sales. There's also the principle of least privilege, a huge one, which means you only get the absolute minimum access you need to do your job, and nothing more. This prevents all kinds of trouble, like one person being able to both submit and approve their own expense report.
So we have Jane's identity. We know what her permissions are. Now let's kind of zoom out and see how all these pieces come together to form a whole ecosystem, one that'll manage her access not just today, but for her entire career at the company.
You see, a modern IAM setup isn't just one program. It's more like a team of highly specialized systems. You've got the directory. That's your foundation. Then you have identity governance tools that manage Jane's entire lifecycle, when she joins, if she moves to a new team, and when she eventually leaves. Access management handles the day-to-day logins, stuff like single sign-on, so she doesn't have to type 50 passwords. And finally, you've got privileged access management, which is like a super secure digital vault for the most powerful accounts in the whole company, the real keys to the kingdom.
And what's wild is that a whole industry, we're talking massive billion-dollar companies, has been built around solving each one of these pieces. You've got companies like SailPoint that just focus on governance, Okta that are masters of access, CyberArk for those privileged accounts. They all have to work together to solve this giant puzzle.
So you might be thinking, okay, this seems like a ton of work, right? A lot of money, a lot of different systems. So why on earth do companies go through all this trouble? What's the end game?
Well, at the end of the day, it really boils down to two huge drivers. The first one is obvious, security. You have to protect your data and stop breaches. The second is compliance. There are all these laws and regulations, like GDPR for privacy or SOX for finances, that require companies to prove they have tight control over who can access what.
But here's the thing that might surprise you. Given how incredibly important this is, for security, for just following the law, you would think every single company would have this stuff locked down. But the reality is a little different.
Get ready for this. Out of over 330 million companies on the entire planet, the data shows that less than 1% are formally using one of these modern, complete IAM solutions. That's a shockingly small number. It means the vast, vast majority are still using older, piecemeal systems to protect their most important stuff.
And that huge gap is precisely why you hear the phrase zero trust thrown around so much these days in security circles. It's a simple but powerful idea. The motto is never trust, always verify. Don't assume anything is safe, prove it every single time.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. We started this whole journey with Jane and a simple password. But as our digital and our real lives get more and more tangled together, what does the future of proving who we are even look like? What comes next?